Well, greeting folks. Today we're gonna be looking at the starter deck for TCG Live. So this is gonna be free. So you just have to log in anytime in 2025. You get this starter deck. There's gonna be 8 in total, and it's gonna be permanent for your collection. It's not like the rental system for Pocket. It's gonna be permanent. So that's gonna be a lot of cards for you to actually use. Okay, with the 8 starter deck, there's a lot of staple card that you get for free, basically, and you can dismantle the deck if you don't like it, or just build upgrade it or so. But yeah, it's a pretty decent deck. Some of them are really awful, but we're gonna be talking about that. So let's look at the 8-star deck here. There are a lot of strong deck here, from Charizard EX to Dragonpult EX, and you get a lot of draw engine from the Dunspark, Dracloak, Mew, and Pheasantipity. If you don't have those yet, you get it, especially the Mew and Pheasantipity, because you're gonna be using that mostly for other decks, but mostly Pheasantipity. And after that, you got a Noctowl and Pidgey for your search engine, stuff like that. And then you get acceleration for Excalibur. You can use Charizard to accelerate the fire energy for Firemon, or Blaziken to return back energy from the grave, the discard pile. Then after that, we're gonna be looking at the item card here. So yeah, you get a lot of cool stuff, particularly a Buddy Puffin for the search for the 2 basic mon and put it in your bench. And after that, you get energy search for your Earthen Vessel. So that's pretty good. You need energy no matter what for your deck. Then after, you get Nestball to actually search a bunch of mon like Squawkabilly or Mew or Pheasantipity, get your draw engine ready. And yeah, Rare Candy is rarely used nowadays, but it's still pretty good. Certain decks, if you really want to start rolling, you use Rare Candy. And the reason why people not using Rare Candy anymore is because of Badu is pretty annoying. Then after the next set, we can have a new item lock called Gel Scent. It's kind of annoying, and that's not fun to deal with. So yeah, a lot more people are using supporters just to use get their thing. Not only that, the last two this current moment is the Etans and what I call Team Rocket. Both of them are heavily using supporters to actually get their mons a bit active. So yeah, Rare Candy is not that good, but it's still pretty strong. And after that, you get Super Retrieval Energy, Energy Retrieval, and Super Rod, and Night Searcher. So those are just recovery tools for your energies, or some of them are recovery for Pokemon for Super Rod and Night Searcher. But yeah, those are pretty good, and basically don't cost you any points. Then after that, you get Ultra Balls to get search some stage 2 or stage 1. So it's pretty good. Glass Trumpet, it's only good for like Terra Box mon. So yeah, it's kind of rarely used. And Palpad, it's pretty okay, I'll say. Okay, now we look at the stadium here. Artisan's pretty good. Air Zero Underdepth is okay. It's only for Terror Box. Levincia is only good for like Lightning Energy or Gholdengo. That's about it. And Gravity Mountain is pretty niche, like certain mods that you use it. But it's pretty awful, the stadium that you get. I wish you get something better, but yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, the first two is gonna be awesome. So Air Zero Underdepth and Artisan, they're pretty useful, quite more. But the last two is gonna be niche. Okay, now we look at the supporters here, and yeah, you get a bunch of strong one. The most common one is Iono and Arven. Those two are pretty useful. You mostly gonna use it for like certain decks, but they're pretty much a staple card. Arven is kinda flippy floppy, especially if you have Professor Research. Sometimes you want professors to research more than Arven, and vice versa. And research are pretty strong, especially dump your hand, then get a fresh new hand. That's pretty strong. Or you don't use up all your cards and you have no cards in left, dump it, and you can't really dump anything, but you get a fresh hand. So yeah, those three are pretty strong. Then after the second one is Boss's Order, and Boss's Order are really strong. Basically a counter catcher, but better, because a Boss's Order just get them right away and stuff like that. Then after that, Codebreaker and Sada and Bianca's Devotion, they're really niche. They're not that good, and they're situational card. And then after that, Chorus, Tenacity, Surfer, and Crispin, they're pretty good and especially useful for a lot of decks, but some of them are pretty niche, especially Chorus Tenacity. You're mostly gonna be using this for like to search out support Stadium, and some decks doesn't really run Stadium, some do, and you really want to run Stadium, to be honest, just to get rid of certain your opponent's Stadium, basically put you on. And then after that, Crispin are pretty good, especially you get 2 energies that different. You can't really have the same energy, so if you're running multiple energy at once, like dual mostly, don't really run 3 is very hard hard to use. But yeah, that's why Crispinner is there for you. Then after that, Serper, just to actually, it's actually a good way to switch and pivot for like you get a fresh new Pokemon and then pivot the damage one to the bench and then switch it. So yeah, that's why it's pretty good. Okay, here we are, the tool section. Some of them are pretty good, some of them are pretty bad. In particular, the air balloon, it's kind of niche, same as the rock chest plate. Yeah, those two are not that good. They're mostly used for niche deck. They're not really common for like good decks and stuff like that. Don't really see them. Then after you got Power Hourglass. It's really okay. Some of them are useful like Darmanitan and Zora deck. And then after that, think Pikachu. And then that's about it that I remember top of my head. But yeah, the Power Hourglass is okay. You don't have to craft it. So when you actually do use those decks, you can put in the Power Hourglass and don't have to worry about it. Then after that, we got a Binding Mochi and Defiance Band. They're really niche thing. Binding Mochi is like for poison build deck, or you get poison. It's pretty strong, but you mostly need a poison in your deck to actually utilize Binding Mochi. Then after that, Defiance Band is a pretty okay tools. I mean, not that good, especially if you're head. So it's mostly for like behind for combat damage. But yeah, if they go down, it pretty much can get negated. So yeah, that's why I kind of don't like Defiance Band. Then after that, we got Rescue Board here. This is the best one. You get yourself a free retreat cost when you have like one retreat. So yeah, there's a lot of mons that's EX that has like one retreat cost. It goes down to 0 and you can retreat it right away. And yeah, that's why it's pretty good. Then after that, you get Evo. Basically, it's really useful for stage 2 deck and stage 1 deck. It's pretty okay, but you're mostly gonna be using this for stage 2 deck. So yeah, it's pretty strong. And after that, you get TM Evo. It's a pretty good disruptor, especially when your opponent is using Rare Candy a lot. Basically, you can soften them down. Next turn, just use TM Evo. They go down to their stage 1. They usually can't really survive that because they need to be more than 70 HP, and if you do 70 HP damage already, they're kind of a bit screwed, especially if they don't evolve it from stage 1. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. Okay, now for the SPEC. This is the best one of all, and yeah, this is a lot of crafting points that you don't have to craft. Most of them are very useful. In particular, Secret Box, Prime Catcher, Sparkle Crystal, and Max Belt. Those 3 are pretty good. Certain decks like Dragonpult and Charizard, they use Sparkle Crystal and Maximum Belt. I think some of them are started using Neo Upper Energy. Yeah, those 3 are pretty good for those decks, but Secret Box mostly used for like researching for stadium and stuff like that. It's pretty good. I actually like it more than the others SPEC. Most people use Trolley, not that good I'll say, but yeah, that's Secret Box is pretty strong. Then after that, Prime Catcher is basically to disrupt your opponent. So yeah, if they don't have any energy, like they put in Blood Moon Ursaluna or a really high retreat cost and they can't really retreat it, you Prime Catcher, you switch into your weak one from your bench. No, it's your strong one in your bench, or your strong one so you can knock it out. But either way, Prime Catcher is pretty strong. Then after that, you got Max Rod and Energy Research Pro. They're pretty okay. They're really niche, to be honest. Some of them are not that useful. But the Energy Research Pro is pretty strong, especially for Gholdengo. Gholdengo is still pretty going well here, and it's pretty annoying to deal with. But yeah, there's a lot more decks. We don't really see a lot more. But yeah, if you would like using Gholdengo, you need to use Energy Research Pro. But yeah, so you don't have to craft this anymore. So yeah, I did forget one seed card here. It's the Grand Tree. Grand Tree is a very, very niche thing because your opponent can also use it. So that's why I kind of don't like using it. It's pretty annoying because yeah, your opponent can use it too, and it's not just you. So basically, they get 2 SPEC while you get 1. So yeah, it's not that good, and you still need to actually have the basic to be in there for like 1 turn. So you still can't use it past Rare Candy and stuff like that. So it is good for item lock deck, like you're getting item lock a lot, but you don't really see it anymore, and you're better off just knocking it out and doing next turn. But yeah, it's really not that good unless you're using a deck that required you to have multiple stage mon, which is it is basically what's used for, and that's about it. Not that good. It's very niche, but you still get it, and yeah, you don't have to craft this anymore. So yeah, There you go. Now we are gonna be ranking the TCG Live starter deck, and you know they're pretty strong. Some of them are pretty okay, but yeah, it's gonna be a new player experience. So how you actually pilot it, and after that you get experience player. But we are not gonna be basing it on upgrading it and stuff like that. So no alteration. It's just gonna be the base deck. So how you actually pilot it. Then after that, I'm gonna make a separate video me upgrading those separate decks, and some of them are not that good. So you're better off just not using it. But we are probably gonna talk about that. But yeah, so there's gonna be a lot of videos on this, because I have more experience on the game, and yeah, I actually are okay with it, to be honest. Okay, here we are. This 8 starter deck here. We are gonna be starting with Charizard EX, Dragonpult EX, Hydreigon EX, Gholdengo EX, Raging Bolt, and Tilmas Ogrepon, then Mamoswine, then Greninja, then Pikachu. And the reason why I have Charizard to be the best one here is because you actually learn it from the tutorial. So it actually teaches you how to actually pilot the deck and how you should be doing the deck. So you basically have a Charmander, you have a Pidgey, then you have a Mew to actually draw, and you build up your 2 mons, and there you go. Use Pidgeot to actually get yourself a Red Candy or Ultra Ball and stuff like that, and there you go. So that's why Charizard EX is the top one, since new players should be able to actually pilot it more. Okay, here we are with Dragonpult deck here, and yeah, this is a bit more harder to actually pilot compared to Charizard. And Charizard only uses 1 energy, Dragonpult uses 2, but Dragonpult is still pretty used to this day, and it's pretty annoying to deal with, especially the spread damage. But for new players, they're gonna be struggling how to actually use the Phantom Dive. The spread damage is useful, but yeah, so Phantom Dive basically give you 200 damage on the active, then you can put 6 damage counter to the bench, so you can put in any order. Most of the time they put all the counter in one mon, and then then after that you use boss's order the next turn to actually knock out 4 of them. So yeah, that's why Phantom Dive is pretty annoying to deal with, since they can get 4 prize scored in 1 turn. And yeah, the only annoying part is the draw engine. Dracloak, you only get 2. You need at least 4, and yeah, Natu and Zatu is not that good, since your draw engine is a evolution. Might as well use Dragon Cloak at that point. It's like 4 extra card for no reason. So yeah, so if you put like Dragon Cloak, you got 2 extra, and after you get like I'll say more new stuff. But yeah, I guess they didn't want you to actually overthink, but yeah, but it is what it is. But the annoying part is gonna be manipulating the damage. That's the reason why I put it second, especially with the Dusknoir here. The Dusknoir also give damage, so basically you can knock out a lot of mons in like 1 turn. That's the reason why Dragonpult should be used to this day. But yeah, the Skull line into Dusknoir is pretty good. But yeah, this deck is still the second best for new players here. Now for Hydreigon, yeah, this deck uses 3 energy this time, but you do have Neo upper energy, so you get 2 energy use, so you don't have to worry about that. You can use like 2 more. You can start rolling with Obsidian for Hydreigon. But yeah, that's why I put Hydreigon as a third, because for now on you're gonna be using a bit more energy base, and they're pretty hard to use, especially for new players. I did struggle with it, and yeah, that's why I'm putting Hydreigon to be third to be used. But yeah, so Hydreigon is a pretty strong mon, especially it's similar to Dragonpult, but Dragonpult is putting counters in the deck, so any bench protection doesn't work. But for Hydreigon, it does. So you can't really use Obsidian like willy-nilly, but his first attack, crashing headbutt, is pretty strong, and yeah, there's 200 damage, so that's why. But you can start discarding your opponent, so it's pretty annoying to deal with. But some of them do play with the discard pile, so you have to watch out for that. But yeah, this deck I wish it was better. The energy in the graveyard and discard pile, use Glass Trumpet, put in it, then use Chansey to actually put it into Hydreigon and start rolling from there. That's what you have to do, but in practice not really. It's kind of hard to actually get it there, but yeah, still pretty good deck. Okay, Raging Bolt and Gholdengo, these two are very similar. But first, we're gonna be looking at the Gholdengo deck here. And Gholdengo is a pretty strong deck, but the problem for new players is the mulligan system. And the ratio for basic mons here is pretty awful. You only have 6 basic mon, and your opponent will be getting a bunch of free draw. And yeah, but you do get a bunch of draw on yourself, but it's still not that good. I wish this deck was more optimized, but it is what it is. It's pretty decent, you know, right now. But yeah, it's pretty strong. Gholdengo is harder to pilot compared to Charizard, Dragonpult, and Hydreigon. And the reason for that is because make it rain. So you need a bunch of energy in your hand to actually start attacking. And some of the mons are getting high HP that this deck might be gone after the Mega. And the Mega has a lot of HP, and Gholdengo might be gone. So yeah, you know, play it now before that happened. And the reason for that is because it's hard to actually retreat a bunch of energy from the deck, since you only have 4 super return energy, and you know, having to juggle discard pile and discard items pretty hard to do for new players, because you don't know which one is you should be keeping, which one you shouldn't. And yeah, that's why I put this to be like the 5th or, you know, lower in the ranking for new players to pilot. But yeah, if you actually learn it, it's a very strong deck to use. But yeah, not for me, but some people do it. This deck will definitely mulligan your opponent more. And yeah, you're better off actually changing this up, but we're probably gonna be doing that next video. And Raging Bolt, instead of discarding from your hand, you're gonna be discarding it from the field. So they have to be in your Pokemon to actually attack. So yeah, Raging Bolt is your main damager. Your second one is gonna be Tilma's Ogre Pawn, and those two are pretty strong. But yeah, Raging Bolt gotten much more weaker now. It's gonna be much more harder to actually pilot. So you can't just start rolling damage. You actually have to think before you actually start blasting. That's why I put Raging Bolt below Gholdengo here. But yeah, it's still the same principle, but a bit more harder to actually use. And yeah, for new players, this would be a challenge for them. But yeah, it's still pretty good, and that's why I put it next to it. And then after it, we're gonna be looking at the other one, and they're a bit more easier to pilot than these two, but they're also weaker decks. So yeah, but this one, if you can actually use this correctly, it's a very good. You can actually go up to high ranking, but you might actually have to change some of them. They're really niche, but it's still pretty decent for like beginner deck. And the last two is gonna be a Mamoswine and Greninja here, and these two decks are pretty strong, but some of them are not that good, especially the card pool here. But you know, we're gonna be breaking it down here. We're gonna be looking at Mamoswine first, and the deck is basically gonna be based on stage 2. So you need a bunch of stage 2 in the field, and then Mamoswine will start, you know, rampaging here, since it does a lot more damage when you have multiple multiple stage 2 in play. So yeah, so if you have 2 Mamoswine and 2 Quackability, it's pretty much strong, and you know, it's quite a lot of HP, like 340. Like that's quite a lot of them. But yeah, that's why, you know, it's gonna be more harder because it's stage 2, so you need multiple mons here. And it seems that they didn't give you a red candy, so yeah, that's why I kind of don't like it, since the Grand 3 only works when the stage 1 is in the deck. So if you draw them, you're basically wasting Grand 3. And yeah, but the hard part is gonna be the Quackable here, since there's gonna be 2 of them. One of them give you a draw, and the other one give you energy, and you need both of them to be in the field, since you know, you need draw power, and you also need to get your energy, so you know, for your Mamoswine. And yeah, this deck is pretty okay, but yeah, that's the reason why I kind of don't like it, since new players will be struggling having multiple stage 2, especially if your opponent is pretty decent at the game, you know, and some of them are pretty annoying, especially Badoo's still in play. So yeah, so that's gonna be harder to actually deal with. But yeah, the Mamoswine deck is pretty strong, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be more harder to pilot than Raging Bolt and Gholdengo. Those two are just, get energy in the hand or in your field, start blasting. But Mamoswine, you have to have multiple stage 2. That's why I put them the second. Now we're gonna be looking at Greninja here, and this deck is pretty awful. Doesn't know what it was gonna do, and the reason for that is because of the Champao. I don't know why they put it in the Greninja deck, and they should have been better off to actually replace the Champao for the non-Terra Greninja. And the non-Terra Greninja is a pretty strong way to actually, put it with the Greninja itself for the Terra version. And the reason for that is the Shinobi Blade or Mirage Barrage. And that one is pretty strong, especially with the spread damage. So if your opponent has, damage already, you can use the other Greninja and start blasting, and it does a lot of damage when your opponent already has damage counter on it. And the reason for that is pretty good. But yeah, the line for Greninja is pretty awful. You get like 2 Froakie, and most of the time you're gonna be pricing that. So yeah, this deck overall is pretty bad, not that good, but not as bad as the last one, to be honest with you. And that's gonna be the Pikachu EX. And yeah, this deck is pretty awful. Doesn't know what it's supposed to do. And yeah, the Iono here, pretty bad. And the reason for that is because you're discarding energy to actually draw, but you need energy for Pikachu in the first place. Like, what's the point? Like, this deck is awful. Like I don't know who made this, but you should go back to the drawing board here. And for new players, you're basically gonna be losing a lot, since you need all 3 Blaziken to be in the field for Pikachu to start blasting. And guess what? You're not gonna happen. And the reason for that is because it's gonna take you a few turns, and if you get lucky, you can use Red Candy. Most of the time you're not, because of Badoo. But Pikachu is mostly used with Joltik, and Joltik is a pretty disgusting, overpowered card. And the reason for that is they don't want more people playing Pikachu. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not true. But yeah, I wish they give us a better Pikachu, and I guess that deck was too powerful to actually give out. But yeah, this deck is not that good, same as Greninja, but at least Greninja is playable. Pikachu is not playable for new players, so do not use Pikachu. And this is the why I put it as last, because it's awful, not that good. Use the other deck, they're a lot more easier to pilot. Pikachu is not good. And this is gonna be my ranking for the deck, for based on the strength of it, when you know how to pilot it and you have experience of the game. And yeah, this is gonna be the ranking for it. But yeah, no, that without counting the modification, because if you do modify it, Dragonpult will be a bit more higher here, but it's still pretty good in this. But the S tier is gonna be Dragonpult and Gholdengo. Those two are pretty strong. Without modification, you still can go well. Gholdengo doesn't really matter, because you still have to wait for your opponents to have put the EX in the field to start blasting. You don't have to actually damage it. Actually, some of them you do, but at the same time, those two are pretty good. Don't have to worry about modification. Then after that, we got Dragonpult Charizard. The starter deck itself plainly is pretty okay. I wish it could have been better, but yeah, with like a few modification, they're pretty good already, and they're probably more higher if you do those modification. But we're not talking about modification here. And then after that, we're gonna be doing Hydreigon, Mamoswine, and Greninja in that order. And Hydreigon, same thing, you need modification. And then after that, Mamoswine and Greninja, those two need modification. But yeah, these 3 in particular need modification. And yeah, the deck itself is not that good, but not that good. They're actually decent compared to the last one here, Pikachu. And Pikachu need better cards. This deck is awful. It's not that good. Don't use this deck. Even with the starting collection, it's not that good. You need to actually craft cards to make it good. And then yeah, at the same time, not that worth it. So yeah, those are my list for the game. And yeah, the starter deck is pretty good. You got a bunch of collection. You just have to log in. You don't have to worry about it. And yeah, if you already been playing the game, you already get in the deck anyway. But yeah, those are my opinion for the starter deck. And yeah, the next video most likely gonna be breaking it down of the deck, and not breaking it down. We're gonna be upgrading the deck. And yeah, I'll see everyone later, and have a good day.